Welcome to Kids Express.
Join us as we see kids express their love for Jesus
while developing their character.
on Kids Express!
We are glad you are joining us today because we are going to meet a young man who is so passionate about sharing Jesus that he created an online Bible study group with his friends. I'm Aunt Francine.
And I'm Sofia. Can you guess where the world's taste guest comes from? Can you identify what state? If you guess Arkansas, you're correct. Let's welcome
Gavin. Welcome, Gavin. How are you? I'm so
good.
So you're in Arkansas, and we brought, I don't know, I wish I could send this possum pie to you, but I understand that this is the state pie, possum pie. And do you know why it's possum pie? You're not sure?
No.
Well, possums, when they are scared, they play dead. And so they have a game that they say in Arkansas that they play possum. But usually, and we left some whipping cream so you can see what's on the bottom, but usually it's like a game, like a fake pretending that they cover it all up with whipped cream so you don't know what's underneath it. So this one seems to be something like a vegetarian pudding, of chocolate pudding or something like that. But that looks scrumptious. I wish I could give you a piece. So tell us about Arkansas.
The most interesting parts about Arkansas to me is probably the mountainous region that we have here and all the outdoor activities that we have, like water sports, and because of all the lakes we have and the hiking and the rivers that we have here. But my favorite of all would probably be the mountain biking because, I don't know, I mean, I really enjoy it. But mountain biking, Hot Springs, the town that we live near, mountain biking is a big thing. So people come from all over the United States to actually ride the tracks.
That's fun. I tell you, you have to be in good shape because some of those things you have to kind of jump over some logs and watch your turn because you don't want to fall down a cliff. So it's fun mountain biking, but I haven't done it recently. But yeah, it is a lot of fun. Does your whole family do it too?
We used to a lot. Actually, we just went recently to a mountain bike park near us in Hot Springs.
And so how many miles do you think you go? Like 6 miles or so, or do you know?
We'll see, a mountain bike park is a little bit different than a track, but the average track is about maybe a mile, 2 miles.
Okay.
That's
cool.
just regular.
Okay, that's just a regular track. It's not like mountain biking in the woods. Okay, gotcha. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I hope you will be able to tell us a little bit about how you're sharing Jesus. There's something that I know you made some friends here at 3ABN, and you had some kind of great idea. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So about 4 years ago at the spring camp meeting at 3ABN, me and a couple guys, we really connected and became really good friends. And at this most recent fall camp meeting, we had, we met again. And then after this, we've been talking a lot since then. And I just kind of came up with this idea, what if we do a Bible study? And they really liked that idea. And they've invited a couple people, and I have too. And the way we do it is we'll read a chapter, a piece in some book, like say Matthew or, any of the Gospels or something. And then our Bible study will present on it, or we'll go back and read something if it's something really stood out to us. We do that. That's what we do.
So how do you choose what the topic is going to be? Do you meet every day? Do you meet once a week? Like, how often do you meet? And
so our schedules are different because they're in Ohio and I'm here, so time frame's different. But we try to do it once a week, but that doesn't work, so we'll do makeup days sometimes.
So my question is, how do you choose what the topic is going to be? Like, do you take turns coming up with a topic, or do you do a particular Bible study, like Detectives of Truth that we have online, for example? Or how do you choose what you're going to study?
So my friend wanted to do something on, it was either 3ABN or Amazing Facts, but we just kind of picked, we were going to go through the Gospels and start back over in the Old Testament somewhere. Mm-hmm. But we're in the middle of Matthew right now, actually.
And that's a really good place to begin, is starting with the life of Jesus is a really good place to get that foundation in, and then going back sometimes to the Old Testament. And that's something that's really powerful to do. And I like how you decided to do that. And then you're all bringing something into it. And I like the picture that you shared with us. That was really nice, of some of you just studying the Bible together. And do you pray beforehand as well? And how long does it last?
Yeah, we do pray before and after it. I think the longest one we've had yet was maybe a 35-minute Bible study, but they're no shorter than 20 minutes.
Is this Bible study at your house or at your friend's house?
So it's online. We do a FaceTime.
So you have FaceTime, and you're all at the kitchen table in your house, and then there's other people that participate remotely, kind of like what we're doing here with the Skype connection. But that's powerful. So you're kind of like a media missionary, being able to witness even with friends remotely, and that's something that all of us can do. If you're tech savvy a little bit, and taking that opportunity to do that. I mean, that is just phenomenal, keeping that friendship and praying for each other. That's very powerful. My hat's off to you. All of us can take that time to really connect. Maybe there's some other people that we can just make a phone call and see how they're doing, or just let them know that you're thinking of them. So because we all have friendships that sometimes we see from time to time, and you decided to make something come out of that. So what's the biggest thing that you feel like you've learned out of this Bible study?
My favorite part about it would probably be, and the most I've learned, because it would be in Matthew 4, and in my school that we're going to, we've been going over the desire of ages, and Matthew chapter 4 is all about how John the Baptist prepared the way for Jesus, and the desire of ages talks about how, like, one of his famous statements, this is the Lamb of God that takes away the sins of the world. Like, John the Baptist didn't even know what he was saying when he meant that. When he said that, and and even in our ignorance, God can use us to do good things,
right?
For people.
And he recognized who God was, or who Jesus was specifically, and knew that he had to be about his business. It wasn't about what he could do; it was what Jesus was going to do. Right. And I like that. So tell us a little bit about if there was something that you feel like you had to develop your character. All of us sometimes have something that we can work on. And so what is a character development that you feel like God's been working with you on? And it might not be an easy one.
Like a lot of kids, I struggled with my temper. And back in Kansas City, where we used to live, I went to a public school. And so competitive sports was a really big thing. And, I really didn't like being on the losing team because, that's just it's not fun.
Cool.
And I would get really angry at a lot of the people that were there, or that won, because we kind of shoved it in each other's faces, even me when I won, and that was definitely not the right attitude to have. But now that I'm down here, we have a good church and school that's a really good support system for me, and it's really been helping me a lot, and my friends.
That's good. That's good. And it's nice that you are able to recognize that, because some of us, that's a little embarrassing to say, I have a hot temper. And, I remember one time, I didn't think I was that mad, and I'm going to tell on myself a little bit. But one time, my mom was asking me to do something, and I was sitting at the stairs, and I was just sitting on the stairs where my feet was next to the wall. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. And my heel went right through the wall. And I was like mortified that I had done some damage to the wall. Like, I had never realized that I had a temper. And I think all of us recognize that sometimes we need to stay calm and realize that we need to check our tempers. So I'm glad you are surrounding yourself, and that's one of those techniques is to surround yourself with people that exemplify good characters and watching their temper, because it's really, you mentioned something about sports, for example, and sometimes even the parents get angry and they start yelling at the coaches, or, they feel like something wasn't fair. And that doesn't help you either when you're trying to build your character and watching your temper. So, recognizing that. So what kind of things do you do when you realize you have to watch your temper?
Like the school that we're going to now, we've been learning a lot of scriptures and stuff. And something my dad brought up one time was, if you're ever getting mad or something, then say those scriptures, like the resist the devil and he will flee, or, things like that can just help you. And it really does help me a lot.
That's really good, Gavin. I really like that because, it's important to understand the difference between our actions and our feelings, and recognizing that you may have this feeling of anger, but you're not going to need to act on it, for example. And have you ever noticed yourself, like, when you are really angry, that your blood pressure blows and your breathing becomes fast and you get tense? And then you realize, oh, that's not right. So you kind of focus like, oh, I've got to walk away sometimes. Like, do you sometimes have to just separate yourself and practice? And then they say, practicing a healthy way to vent. Maybe it's talking to your parents or talking to a best friend, or maybe listening to music. Sometimes those kind of strategies will help us, because I like how James 1:19 and 20, and I'm going to read this from the New International Version. So it's not the normal New King James, but it says, "My brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to be angry, because human anger does not produce righteousness that God desires." God does desire us to be fruitful and have a kind spirit like Jesus would have. And that's hard to keep in mind, that we always want to think about what would Jesus do? Right? Yeah, and it's hard. So I'm really appreciating that you're willing to talk about that. So have you seen some milestones that you've talked about not having it in your area of where you live now, but what do you do now that helps you?
Well, I do talk to my friends a lot, and we're always there for each other, and I do talk to them about stuff a lot, and they do help me and give good answers.
How about you, Sophia, when you get upset?
Sometimes I like talking with my friends or my family and like tell them to help me, things like that.
It is nice to be able to talk about it with family. And each of us have to have that downtime for reflection and to think about that. I think it's important that we also know that we need to calm down before you articulate your anger. Yeah, you don't want to sound angry to anybody else. So let's go to our question. Do you have a question for us today, Sophia?
This question goes to Aunt Francine from Ethan in Tennessee. Our question is, when and how did Aunt Francine know God was calling her to lead out in 3ABN Kids?
I have to admit that that's a very difficult question. Sometimes we know our plans that God has for us in our lives, but other times it seems like God is gently guiding us and directing us, and we might not know exactly what his plans are. Like, I didn't know necessarily that I was going to want to be a teacher, but I started teaching Sabbath school with the kids, and I started enjoying it. And, more and more God starts leading. And so you were talking about how I got to 3ABN. Again, I would just love teaching. And again, God started putting things into my path that helped me feel like that I could actually be here and help with Kids Network. And it's a real big honor, because I could never think I would ever be here with kids, but I get to enjoy wonderful kids like you, Gavin and Sophia. God is always guiding us and leads us to the right path that he wants for us. So many times we have to step and do God's work, even if we don't feel ready or worthy enough for the task. In the Bible, there are many times where God encourages us to step forward and boldly serve him. Thanks for joining us on KX220026. I can't wait to try some of this possum pie.